From an award-winning, multi-hyphenated global entertainer comes one of the most anticipated books of the year, the inspiring guide to understanding your genuine value and identity based on her real-life experience conquering her industry for decades. The book, Master of Me, The Secret to Controlling Your Narrative, the author, Keke Palmer, and you're listening to Lit Society. Let's get lit! Hey, this is Kari.
And this is Alexis.
And you're listening to Lit Society, a show about books and drama. Alexis, how are you?
Terrible.
Aww.
On so many levels. So many.
Well, tell us, what's wrong? What's going on?
Well, I'm having audio problems. I can't connect to my computer. I have jury duty. I have to call in to see about jury duty. And I haven't had any sleep. And I have a nagging cough that won't go away.
Oh my goodness.
I might come up with some more stuff. But I have more. Do you want more? Do we have time for more?
Thank you for sharing that. If you'd like to share more.
No, I don't. I'm over it, all of it.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Well, it's nice that you're here despite all of the issues, especially since this is our season finale. And I have to say, if you're going to have audio issues, it's better to have them at the end of the season than the beginning, right?
Yeah.
Iron them out. It'll be great.
Mm-hmm.
Well, let's cheer Alexis up, you guys, with Society Says. And that's the portion of the show where we read your comments, literati, with the rest of our Lit Society. Alexis, is there a comment you'd like to read that you thought particularly lit this week?
Absolutely. I found a comment on Audible. Can you believe it?
Wow.
I didn't even know they were doing that. But yeah, this is Lali from South Africa. And they said, I love the detailed rundown of each book. This is an amazing listen, especially for books you've already read. These ladies bring a fresh perspective. Thank you so much, Lali, for that comment.
You.
We appreciate it.
Shout out to South Africa.
Absolutely. Thanks for listening.
You were just there, weren't you?
Not just, but I have been there, and it's a beautiful place. Kari, how about you? Do you have a comment that you'd like to share with our Lit Society?
Yes. I'm going to talk like Keke for the rest of this episode. I do, darling. She don't do darling. Anyway,
she
this
does,
is from
actually.
Oh, does she?
Uh-huh.
Well, the gag is this is from Apple Podcasts, and it's from someone named I Am So Disappointed. That's just a name, though, because the comment is loving this. Found this podcast looking for someone talking about Kindred. That's by Octavia Butler. Love that episode. And I'm enjoying it so much. These are the book convos and Kikis I have always been looking for. Thank you.
The Kikis.
No, thank you. I am so disappointed. And you know what? Sometimes we so disappoint too. So relatable. Thank you all for leaving your comments on Apple Podcasts, Spotify. Where else they be leaving comments, Alexis? Audible. Apparently.
Audible.
Thank you. Oh, and thank you to Team Literati over on Patreon. You guys have been having so much fun with us. We have actually a little surprise for you this show, but we'll give that to you after the break. So thank you all for leaving your comments. You can continue to comment on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and wherever you get our show. We read those comments. We appreciate them. And they really help us to keep going, especially on days like this.
Mm-hmm. True
all right.
story.
Well, Alexis, you want to take a quick break and then we'll hop into some context because we all know who Keke Palmer is. Is this a new person?
It is brand new.
All right, and we're back. Alexis, can you give us some information on Keke Palmer? Who is she? What does she do? What doesn't she do, actually?
What doesn't she do is a very good question. So, usually when we do a autobiography, a memoir type, we don't generally go into detail in this section. So I won't. But what I will tell you is a little bit about her family. Her name is Lauren Kiana Palmer, born to parents who met in drama school. So she comes from a family with an active interest in the arts. She has 3 siblings, and she had a set of twins and then an older sister. And she has one child She was born
That
in
has the blackest name in existence. That's what she said.
Leo, is it?
Cleotis. That's the baby full name.
Oh, is
it? Yeah.
There's no lies told there then. No lies told. She was born in the Chicago suburbs and later moved to California. And that piece of information is from the introduction of this book. I also want to share that this is not Keke's first book. The first book
not
she
at all.
was published in 2017. It's called I Don't Belong to You, Quiet the Noise and Find Your Voice. And that was, again, published in January 2017. She also has a short anthology on Audible called Southern Belle and Sauce. And that's where she says, darling. I don't know if you've seen those clips on her page. And I think it's also a Southern Belle and Sauce page. And anyway, she says, darling on there. And she's written those short stories along with Jasmine Galori. And that name may be familiar to you because she's a romance writer and she has several very popular books under her belt. And those short stories, it's a collection of 5, were published in November 2021. At least the first one was. And so that's what I have about our author.
I read a little bit of her last book, You Don't Own Me. Is that it? Or I Don't Work for You? What is it called?
To you.
I don't belong to you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And it was very interesting to see. That book was good. The portion I read, I just had time to dive into the beginning. But it was, I immediately recognized how her voice has changed and matured with this book. And so that was interesting. And her baby's name is Leotis and Drelton Jackson.
Oh.
Yeah, I want to get that baby name right. Okay. She loving on that baby, and he the cutest thing ever.
Yeah.
Well, Alexis, thank you for that dive into Keke's life. Who do you think would enjoy reading this book?
I'm going to ask you that question, Kari. Who do you think would enjoy reading this book?
Yeah, it's odd because I actually thought about Get Good with Money, which is one of my favorite nonfiction self-help books. And this read like a self-help book with actionable items. It felt like a amalgamation of Get Good with Money and Jada Pinkett's Worthy, which is a book we enjoyed also. And she had actionable items, exercises. And while sharing her experience, I'm talking about Jada here, she wasn't telling you what you should do. She was saying what helped her. And maybe it'll help you too. And that's how Keke's words felt to me. It wasn't like, I know everything, darling. You know, just be like me. It was some of that, but only in joking and jest. Yeah. Mostly this book was like, these have really worked for me from experience. And from outside help, both therapy and different mentors. And so I'm sharing it with you, whatever industry you're in. And so, yeah, that's who I'm thinking. Why did you choose this book for this week?
Well, you know,
and it just came out. So wow.
We usually select a memoir to go for our final episode of the season. And so we were on the hunt. I weren't finding anything. And then we got news about Keke's book. So we kind of held out to the very last minute. Like I said, we got it yesterday because that's when it was released. Got a book version. And I have the Audible version, which is what I listened to. And so I did the best I could, y'all. That's all I'm going to say about that.
Are you going to spoil the book for us?
There will be some spoilers, but
why not?
I try not to give it a whole lot of detail. It's going to be a short, deep dive, for sure.
So this isn't a book with plot beats where you can actually spoil the twist. Right. She became Keke Palmer. She is Keke Palmer and always was Lauren Keke Palmer. So I don't think you could spoil anything. And of course, what we get out of this book, listener, you will get something different out of it. Now, before we dive into the book, I just want to make a special announcement. Hey, Team Literati and wannabe lovers of reading. Are you ready to make reading even more fun and rewarding? Introducing the Lit Society Reading Journal. And if you're watching us on YouTube or Patreon, I'll include some graphics so you can dive into that journal and browse its pages before grabbing your own. I've designed over 200 pages of custom graphics, fun prompts, and tools to crush your reading goals. And this journal isn't just a tracker. It's not just something you use to track how many days you're reading, how many hours. It's a total reading game changer, perfect for seasoned readers and even the, I'll read more next year crowd. So if you're listening, it's for you. Want in early? Want to grab this early? I know you do. Well, get yours starting Black Friday. Head to our Patreon. That's patreon.com/LitSocietyPod, or go over to litsocietypod.com and snag your copy before they're gone, because there will be a limited amount, even though they're mostly digital journals. Don't miss out on the bookish fun. Completely evolve into the reader you can be. Again, that's the Lit Society Reading Journal. You're going to love it, you guys. All right. And without further ado, let's take a deep dive into Master of Me by Keke Palmer. Alexis, you have the floor.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay. So part 1, performance. Keke said that with her supportive family, she has the desire to have it all, despite some things being out of her control. Stuff showing up on social media. There's just things she cannot control, but she wants to have it all. She said she never wanted to be a performer, but did want people to feel something deeply. She says acting gives her a chance to take on a character's perspective without judgment, giving her the ability to explore emotions she may not be able to access herself. Because of this, she has a deeper understanding of human emotions she feels, and giving her the ability to support others with more courage and empathy. By performing, she helps people access places they never knew they needed to reach. And this, to her, is quite rewarding. She mentions, and jump right in, being violated at a young age, but not really understanding what happened until she watched an episode of Law and Order SVU. It has a tendency to reveal things to us, so I get it. This episode helped Keke to see the impact that media has on her life, on our lives as a whole, and how it can provide a framework for navigating complex emotions and experiences. She said the episode made her feel seen, and she also learned that she didn't want to be her trauma.
I thought that was a really powerful statement.
Yeah. Her film debut was at 9 years old, and it was in the film Barbershop 2.
I remember that scene. Do you remember?
Do you? She was Queen Latifah's disrespectful niece. Not only do I think I saw it, but I'm not sure. I went and looked
they're
at
outside
clips.
at a cookout. Yeah, thank you. Behind the barbershop, and Keke does something that Cedric deems as disrespectful, and she roll her neck and roll her eyes. And Queen Latifah's like, "Go sit over there." And then Queen Latifah and Cedric starts like going back around,
and forth. Yeah, with the dozens and kind of
the dozens,
thinking, like that.
Yeah, it's funny.
Yeah, quite the disrespectful little niece. And she did it well. And she said she was only on set for 4 days. She only filmed for 4 days. And one of those days, probably the first day, her mom was always engaged and wanted to know, what's going on? How did it go? Did the director give you any notes? And she was like, no, the director hasn't given me any notes. So
that means I'm killing it. I'm better than everybody because he giving everyone notes.
If that's the case, yes, girl, then you are doing great. So she's like, okay. That feeling left her with a feeling of being proud, right? Because everybody else was getting notes because she could see the director talking to everybody else, but he wasn't talking to her. Well,
right.
Stop, because he's going to talk to you. And so she started getting notes herself, and it made her anxious, taking in his notes. She said she felt like he was giving notes left and right. She's like, huh? Why? Why am I getting all these notes? And so she felt, of course, that was a sign that she was doing something wrong. And eventually she felt like the notes were piling up so much, she ran off set. She was truly upset. She realizes, though, that was an early anxiety attack for her and from the stress of what Kevin was wanting and demanding of her. But Kevin confirmed her. He let her know that she was doing well. No problem. In fact, he said she could keep the
off-brand
shoes,
sneakers.
the off-brand sneakers she was wearing at the time. She eventually went back. And when she spoke with her mom later, her mom apologized for leaving her with that impression and explained to her that director notes are really just part of the process. It's not always bad and it's not always good. It's just part of the process. And from this experience, she learned to depersonalize and find solutions. She says she then learned to handle stressors by focusing on her best efforts. And she learned to separate her performance from emotion, understanding she was not her work, but she does her work. And she learned how to take criticism and to detach herself from feeling. I don't know how good that is, but that's what she had to do to cope with her situation. And ultimately, it caused her to grow up quickly. Eventually, she would learn to separate her value from her professional accomplishments. It wasn't tied to that. With the help of her family, though. She has a very supportive family, and she says that throughout the book. At 21, she became the first Black Cinderella on Broadway. Here, she expressed the importance of not putting much stock in reviews. She said her mother's review is more important to her than anything that they could say in the papers. And now I would imagine that keeps you at a good head and a good headspace, not being
grounded,
drawn in.
because people make their money off of criticizing your work, and the more salacious the criticism, the more popular their work becomes. That's not always a motivator outright, but subconsciously, of course, it can be. Critics can just have a critical eye. So I thought Keke explained her take on press well.
Yeah,
press. Yeah. She ain't press.
She did.
And she also talks about Tyler Perry later, and I want you to pause there because I got to ask you a question. Okay, go ahead.
Okay, Keke went through a stage when she wasn't being booked. And this is when she moved to social media. This is what the people in her age group, that she's a millennial, that she's on the younger end of the millennials. And this is what people in her age group were doing. So she studied how people used it and she dived in. And
especially Kevin Hart. She admired how he wasn't going to just promote a film because a production house told him to. He recognized the value in his audience. They're here for me. So I'm not just going to use it as a free way for you to get publicity. You actually have to pay me for that in addition to what you pay me for. And that makes sense.
Right. So she's on Snapchat, IG, Facebook, and TikTok. And she has millions of followers. Millions, okay? I think at least on IG, she has 14 million followers, I think. And so she started becoming an artist in a way that felt fun to her. And she was now calling the shots and focused on building a relationship with her audience and building her brand, in fact. Enter Scream Queens. Now, she talked about a time when she had planned a day off from the show. But last minute, it sounds as if the show changed it. And she was then expected to stay and work regular. But she had made plans. She was, moving on. They were in the second season and she was, progressing. So she had plans that day. So she really couldn't stay. And she decided to go. And she said when she decided to go on with her day and do the things that she needed to do, she said Ryan Murphy was really angry. And he was angry because essentially she chose herself over the show. And she said she wasn't mad at him for being angry because
he's
this is a
protecting his
business.
interests. Yeah.
And he was centered on her business. She too was centered on her business. And she said when he talked to her later that he ripped into her because it was unprofessional. And she acknowledged that it was unprofessional. But she said they were being unprofessional too because she was told she could have this time and now she doesn't have the time. So she had to look back, check for herself and do what she needed to do for her business.
And she had obligated herself to certain projects on her off time. So if she had stayed on his project, she would have been unprofessional for another entity that she had an agreement with. So it wasn't like she was just, going to the spa. Yeah. You told me I had Tuesdays off, so I'm going to the spa. Yeah. No, she had business. She was investing in herself and her talent. So she couldn't throw all of that business aside for the Ryan Murphy. Everyone knows his name and his projects, but she had to be fair in that moment. And she says she was unprofessional and that they were also, but it doesn't sound like to me she was.
Right.
She upheld her end and they weren't upholding theirs. And that is how it is for no matter what industry you're in. A lot of people think they have a monopoly on your time because they have an agreement with you to hold some of it.
Yep.
That doesn't mean that they have access to all of it.
Yeah. She said she bet on herself and she never looked back, but she accepted responsibility for her actions. She knows her value and centered on her needs.
Yeah. And I thought this is why you keep a bag, because the way she talked about Ryan Murphy left the door open for them to work together again.
Exactly.
She hasn't worked with him since, but she loves his projects. Okay. Exactly. He is a talent, an icon.
I'm not mad at him.
I know, that's right, Keke. No hard feelings. And that's separating emotion like she was talking about before. I'm not going to hold this event, this one situation we had in my heart.
It's not personal.
I'm not going to do it.
It's not personal. This is business. And she respects the business. When she was 9 years old, she got a golden ticket to be a part of a show called American Juniors. And it's an American Idol type show. Did you ever watch it? Know about that show? Yeah,
I want to see kids do nothing. Except cook, because I love how Gordon Ramsay treat the kids. You ever see his show with kids?
I think I've watched one in the past, yeah.
Girl, night and day, he be calling adults stupid sandwiches and the kids be crying because their cake fell in. And he be like, listen, sometimes life falls in, but you gonna be all right. I said, Gordon, go sit down. We know you hate people. Okay, go ahead. Keke.
Okay, thank you. I'm Keke. Let's stick to Keke. Okay. Anyway, so she was really disappointed that she didn't get, because she just knew this was her end. This is going to be her open door. She about to be fame. It was out there, right? But in hindsight, she said she was really grateful that she was kicked off the show, because those cast members ended up being stuck in some 360 deals for years. And she would have never gotten the opportunity to do some of the things that she was able to do. And while she didn't make the show, she eventually was able, like down the line, and think that's going on now, work on a show that was somehow connected to the American Juniors brand. And so she's a game show host. I believe it's Passwords that she's on. And she actually won an Emmy for that, her role in that. The first,
so cool.
I want to say Black woman. It could be the first woman, though, to
as
win
a game host.
A game show host. An Emmy for that. There's a section in the first part where she called the chapter a PSA. What is PSA again? What is PSA?
Parent Student Association.
No, wrong, Kari. That is not what you were supposed to say.
Public slaps of affection.
Public service announcement.
That's what I said.
Yeah, public service announcement. And here she speaks about the incident that happened with her then boyfriend, Darius, when he commented on her being entertained at the Usher concert. Do you remember what he said, Kari?
You're a mother.
Yeah, something like that. She said that was totally unexpected. She did not see that coming. Just, that was wild. And she also tells us she doesn't want her personal life to overshadow her professional life. And she said this line that I was like, phew. She said, "It does hurt when you laugh when I'm not performing." So
talking to
that's
us,
yeah.
not to Darius. So she's letting us know she enjoys entertaining, but when we laugh and nothing's funny, we're laughing at her, not her characters. It hurts.
Yeah.
And I'm like, who was laughing at that? But yeah, laughing at the tweet and all the discourse around it. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, that's all stuff she cannot control. She thinks the problem with Darius is that he didn't understand her stardom, essentially. People not in that world can't appreciate what's going on with the people in their life. They don't understand it, and their reaction is just, it can feel out of place because, like she said, she didn't expect it. She said, when the audience thinks I'm a joke, that's when we've lost the plot. Okay? Don't do that. Did you want to comment at all, anything in this section of part 1?
I will say, I don't think being in a certain industry gives you a pass to be disrespectful to your partner. But what's respectful and what's disrespectful is something that's often agreed upon explicitly or implicated by the members of that partnership. So by that, I mean, someone might behave in one way and it's totally fine for their partner. Someone may behave in another way and it's not fine for their partner. I don't think it's your responsibility to read your partner's mind at all times and know that this action will make them feel a certain way. But it is their responsibility to communicate with you clearly and respectfully when they do feel disrespected. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. It makes sense to me.
So that can happen to anyone in any industry. You can do something and your partner is like, well, I ain't like that. And this is why. And then y'all need to settle it and decide how to move forward, knowing that the problem is telling the world on Twitter. Yeah. And that's where I think the joke came in. Like, why are you telling us? Leave us out of it.
Exactly.
And now because you told us, we can pick apart everything you're saying in your whole life. People will spend their whole day doxing you. And it's so weird. So I think that's what happened in this case. And she, to her credit, does not disrespectfully talk about him. I didn't feel like throughout the book. I thought she was very respectful to him, not just as the father of her son, but as someone who she knows has a lot of good in him, just like she has a lot of good in her. So she takes responsibility for conflicts that they had publicly and privately in a way that I really admired. And I just liked the way she talked about him. I felt like if she hate his guts, you wouldn't be able to tell reading this book. It seems like she's in a good place and he's a great person. That's what you get from this. And it's not like when we read Mariah's book where she don't really tell you nothing. I felt Keke told.
Keke is not a bridge burner.
This is the thing. And I really admire that while still respecting how she felt in the moment and speaking clearly to that. She didn't feel the need to be overly disrespectful with the antagonist, who I see as the antagonist of the situation. And she took that, what could have been seen as like a PR tragedy, and turned it into some money and opportunities.
She sure did.
Wow.
Keke,
Part 2, amazing.
Power. There is an interview clip of Keke and Tyler Perry, and he tells her that while building his brand, and he talked about building his brand with Lionsgate and his name needing to be on everything. That was non-negotiable. Because he was building his brand, his name needed to be shown. It needed to be seen. And he didn't yield on that. I know you wanted to comment
Tyler
on that.
Perry's Medea. It's Tyler Perry's name the play, you know?
Yeah.
Really brilliant move. And they didn't understand it at the time, the bigwigs, because he didn't have a name yet. He was making a name. And that was the point. And he understood that so early.
Did you want to comment something else
Not
about
yet.
this
I'll
clip?
wait till you continue.
Okay, well, that's all I'm going to say about that. So if you
Oh,
want to
really? You're
jump
not
in,
really?
yeah.
Well, the key takeaway from this interview is this came after a series of movies and projects that people, especially in the Black community, were not feeling. It seems based on the Twitter discourse. But I mean, hardly anyone's on Twitter anymore. When I say Twitter, I just mean online discourse from a certain community. So he was on the show and he was like, you don't get to tell us what stories count. And you have these uppity Black people who are looking down on these people and they think blah, blah, blah. And Keke hosted that interview in a way that was really well done, where she supported and affirmed her interviewee. And you can tell she has a lot of genuine respect for Tyler. I felt, in Keke's words, a reclaimed appreciation for what Tyler does, because I used to appreciate his works and I have lacked appreciation lately.
So you learned a lesson. You learned a lesson. Okay, I hear it.
Yeah. Yeah. I will say she didn't change my mind about him or his works, but I just I can appreciate him. And there are a lot of great lessons in his career and his avenue of how he's pursued things. Alexis, do you like Tyler Perry movies?
I've liked and watched some of them. I can't say that I've watched all of them, but there are quite a few of them that I do like. So,
have you liked them lately?
I haven't watched anything lately. Sorry.
That's sad. No, don't be sorry.
State.
Well, that's because you're uppity. Okay, that's all I want to say. Let's keep it on Keke.
Okay,
but you know what, Tyler? When that memoir come out, we can't wait to read it.
And
hurry up, too.
So, yeah, for sure. She was very complimentary of Tyler and confused by the way people comment. Not confused, but she explained it. She talked about it in depth of why people talk about things the way they do. Kari.
I mean, she felt like we're overly critical, and I'm saying we, so you know where I'm standing on the sand in the line. She felt like we were overcritical.
Down in it, okay?
I say if Tyler was anyone of any race, of any background, producing content for his culture, and it ended up like this on this level with the script writing and this plot development, I think the outcome would be the same. But I appreciate what she's saying. We can give grace and show some appreciation to this man that is a hard worker, brilliant, and is paving the way for many. I was listening to something the other day and they're like, yeah, and Tyler's problem is he don't really pay his people. And I'm like, well, if you're going to complain about anything about Tyler, don't pick that.
Yeah, because everybody knows that he pays people.
So I turned that right off. I said, oh no, I rebuke it.
Yeah. Not you. Okay,
let's talk about plots or something.
Okay.
Yeah. So.
All right. Anyway, around the time she was starring in Nope. You remember Nope? Did you see Nope?
I do.
Okay. Did you see it?
I haven't seen it, but.
Okay. Nope is by Jordan Peele. Jordan Peele does some horror type movies. Okay.
He is a genre-breaking, masterpiece maker.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's amazing.
A tweet wanted to do a deep dive into a comparison of Keke's career. And here's another interesting thing. Keke don't be naming names.
Okay? Yeah, who's she talking about here? Well, Zendaya. Go ahead, set it up.
Zendaya.
Oh, people were comparing Keke and Zendaya, saying Zendaya found more success because she's lighter skinned, which Zendaya is mixed race. So Keke felt like, don't be putting me in your issues. And in fact, I am a one-of-a-kind talent.
Absolutely.
And I am very successful. So don't project onto me.
Yeah, she said she didn't like how that conversation turned. She didn't want to believe that her career was an example of colorism because she's had many opportunities. She said, I'm the first Black woman to star on her own show on Nickelodeon, the youngest and first Black Cinderella on Broadway. I'm an incomparable talent, baby. This is Keke Palmer. Okay.
I love it. And that she's not saying colorism doesn't exist. It does.
Yeah. No,
but
she
do
did
not
not
use
say
her
that at all.
success. Who in the world says I'm not successful? That's what she said.
Yep, that's what she said.
And on what planet am I not successful? So don't do that. And then who does that conversation serve? Are you trying to pit these actresses together? And what you post online can have real ramifications in the real world with these real people whose job it is to act. So
and that is what she did not like. That is what she did not like. So she says to know your value and know your personal power, and leveraging those things can get you what you want. This will allow you to decide not to be part of things that do not interest you. She means that we should spread ourselves out into many spaces and not limit ourselves to just one major thing. We don't always get what we want. This is true. But don't limit ourselves.
Is this the jack of all trades, master of none is better than a master of one?
No, that's at the end. I'm still in part 2.
Well, the point is, whatever you're doing, make sure it works to your goals. So if you are working at McDonald's and you want to be a chef, perhaps learn more about the business of serving food, of making and serving food while you are there at McDonald's. Wherever you are, make sure that the work you do is separate from who you are and serves who you want to be. Does that make sense? You can learn if you're done learning where you are, perhaps consider stop being where you are.
She said, I'm not doing the Beyonce thing. I'm not telling you to quit
I'm not telling you to quit your job.
That's not what I'm saying.
I'm telling you get more jobs.
That's it. I'm not saying that.
It seems she was very Damon Dash, work for yourself. And I mean, that's a lot of people's goal. Even if you're working for a corporation, make sure it works for you.
Yep, that's what she said. She also mentioned that she'd be working with Debbie Allen on a project on Broadway soon. So I'm looking forward to hearing more about that. She tells her audience to empower themselves by looking at life from different perspectives. Positively, in fact, the glass is always half full, not half empty. She said pregnancy gave her a different kind of security. It reminded her that she was never alone, and having her son empowered her to say no to things that she might have said yes to in the past. She talked about the importance of knowing your self-worth, stepping into your power. She said it's not always easy, and it may come with backlash. She talked about, again, an unnamed person, but I happen to know that it's about Trey Songz, Keke versus Trey Songz. You know that story, Kari?
So that is not Keke versus Trey Songz. That is Keke versus the internet. Keke was at Trey Songz' house, and he used what she called at the time sexual intimidation to try to get her to be in his video. If you know anything, you know Keke's about her business. And he kind of framed it as a party. So she's drinking alcohol. Now, if you saw her on the video, it's not like she's all over herself fumbling her words, but she understood that she had a drink or two. So she wasn't going to decide in this moment whether to be in your video or not. So, okay, so I'm not going to be in your video, okay, Trey Songz. And then he tried to kiss her, and she did something brilliant here. She understood why. It wasn't because he wanted her. It's because he thought she wanted him. And he was going to use sexual intimidation to get her to make a business decision. And then in the end, when she said she didn't want to be in the video, what happened, Alexis?
She was in the video anyway.
He put her in anyway. This is a violation on a deep level. Okay. This is not something a friend does. Yeah. She, in the moment, hid in a closet, got on live, which she got a lot of flack for that. Y'all, that's brilliant. You scared? Get on live. Get on live. It's fine. She said, hey, y'all, listen, I'm scared.
Oh, you remember it.
It's some stuff going on and folks is trying to use intimidation to, it's stuff going on. And people were like, how dare you, Keke?
Isn't that something? Yeah.
That's Trey Songz. Now, you know, people kind of quiet on Trey Songz. That's all I'm going to say about that. But Keke said it first. She tried to warn y'all if y'all was listening.
That's right. She said she felt disrespected, and she said, I don't hate him.
She didn't stop, Keke, stop. Some bridges you gotta burn.
She said,
what
I
I
don't
wanted
hate
was,
him.
y'all,
Wait,
Trey
wait.
Songz
No, wait.
disrespected me on the
Pause.
team.
Pause.
I don't mess with him and you shouldn't either.
Wait. She said she felt disrespected. She said that. She don't hate him. But she did throw some shade. She said,
okay, give it to me because I missed it.
I listened to one of the 2 hit songs he had.
Shut up. Wait. Alexis, let me set it up. I forgot that was one of my favorite parts of this book.
Exactly.
Okay, Alexis, we know Keke is very respectful. But can you please let us know how she felt about this unnamed used to be friend and how he treated her? What did she say about his catalog?
She said she felt disrespected. She don't hate him. She listens to one of the 2 hit songs he has, and he don't even own the material anyway. So she threw a little shade. She threw a little shade. So
just enough. Oh, just a little spice.
Just enough.
Not overpowering the dish.
You can still maintain that if you want to.
Hey, good for you. Good for you. You just got to make it.
Yep. Yeah.
Great.
She wanted everyone to know with these actions, she wanted everyone to know that she was coming into her own. Pause. She says that Darius, her child's father, is a great person, but they just cannot be together. Although their relationship is over, she does not regret the relationship, and co-parenting has worked out for them. She also talks about a weird random moment that happened on the set that she did not specify and I don't have any knowledge of. And I don't know, maybe you do, where the actress was having issues with another actress and she wanted to kind of help because, their commotion was dragging out the shooting. And she was like, I'm tired. I want to go home. And and the actress that she was trying to be supportive of says, who do you think you are? Martin effing Luther King. And Keke was like, oh. She expressed that she had a problem with that, but she did not let that comment kind of overshadow the situation.
And she knows that actress. She says that actress probably didn't even recognize the entitlement from which she was speaking.
Yep.
And how, I don't want to put words in Keke's mouth, it was just, listen, the comment was racist, and uncalled for. I don't remember Keke saying that, but
no,
what I remember
not.
what I remember from Keke is I know this actress, and if people don't even recognize, she had a turn of phrase here that I thought showed a lot of empathy. If people don't recognize their own, whatever it was, issues, then they're, I forget the way she said it. I'm so sorry, because she said it brilliantly and I don't want to misspeak. But when you read it, literati, you'll love that part, I think. Because in any work situation, someone can make an offhanded comment, offhanded, whatever, can make a disrespectful comment to you off the cuff. And it has a lot of implications. It says more about them than they may realize. That does not mean you have to internalize that and take it into your heart. You can still work with them based on the knowledge of who they're showing you they are.
Yeah.
And that's fine too.
Okay, so that was part 2. And again, that was about power. Is there something that I did not include that you'd like to talk about? You got a minute to talk about it.
No, you're doing great. You're doing great, Ceedee. Let's continue.
Part 3, purpose. So this section was primarily about all the things that give her purpose. And I appreciated that. That helped her feel a way. One, of course, was the birth of her son. She said purpose is passion that keeps you going. And she talked about announcing her pregnancy on SNL. She remembered waiting for the perfect time to tell. She had pregnancy pictures. What do they call those? Well, anyway.
Yeah, like a maternity shoot. With
She had a maternity shoot. Yep. And she could have did that, but she didn't want to do that. She wanted something special. And SNL provided that something special for her. She said she had commenters on her page trying to force her to announce before she was ready. And I like the She talked about Hallie.
Mm-hmm.
I can't.
Bailey.
It is Bailey. I always want to say Barry. So
of course, because you want to say Halle Berry.
Yes. So anyway, she talked about Hallie's story, and when she was pregnant, she's like, what I look like trying to hide something from y'all? It's not about hiding it. It's my life, my story to tell when I want to tell it. So stop harassing me, because you don't get to tell my story. And I like that. I loved her appreciation for Hallie in that case, and again, and really for her own self, because she said SNL was the moment she wanted to reveal. It was very special to her. It's something she always wanted to do, that is be on SNL. And so it was the perfect moment for her. She also talks about her postpartum feelings, remembering that she didn't even want her mom to touch her son.
I just really need hard. My mother to stop touching my son.
Those are very real feelings. Postpartum. Very real feelings. So when she learned in her career that she could be an asset, her whole perspective changed. That's what she said. She said, test yourself. If you have a strong family, she talked about the importance of forgiveness. It wasn't always about other people, but how she felt about herself. So she said forgiveness is important in finding your purpose. She talked about her experience at the Met Gala. I mean, her last gala outfit, I think, was fabulous. And the one after she had her son, she looked gorgeous.
So that's the thing, right? Like, I understand having a designer that you respect and amuse, but for Marc Jacobs' team to take her without already having that relationship and to turn it into that look, that was artistry to me on so all her looks. So that big hair, like Diana Ross look. And I want to get the name of her stylist too, just to say his name.
It was that Sergio Hudson.
Thank you. He's brilliant. Really well done. And also really kudos to Marc Jacobs' team for turning out a look. And kudos to Keke for turning that look. It was just
phenomenal. She just was beautiful. Both of those looks were beautiful.
I mean, and she woke up beautiful, but I'm saying, like, it is. Go look it up, y'all. Just look up all her Met Gala looks. They're all just one after another bangers.
She mentions a time when Nicki Minaj took her aside and wanted to say something. She didn't even know she knew Nicki Minaj like that. Okay, she was like, "Oh,
yeah, that's Nicki's thing, though." She's like, "I have something I must bestow uponst you."
And she told her, don't ever let anybody online, on the streets, in this world that doesn't understand who you are outside of what it is we do, don't let them ever tell you what's right for you. And she really valued that advice. Okay. I'm going to have to wrap it up. Just got a little, this is the last thing I'm going to say. Key TV is Keke's digital platform.
KEY TV. That is a YouTube channel and digital platform. KEY TV.
And she's got TV shows on there, diverse creators. Yeah, podcasts. Even a show where her mom is the lead. So take a look at it.
It's like Keke Evelyn on the internet, but it's Keke Palmer on the internet.
Oh, Evelyn on the internet. I love Evelyn on the internet.
We all love Evelyn on the internet. And always, she should have 50 million followers the way folks just reference her.
I love her. I really do. I love Evelyn on the internet. Anyway, that's all I'm going to tell you about.
What's my cousin drinking today? Oh, peach and tea.
I love it. Yeah. So that's it. That's all I'm going to talk about. That's all. So let's take a quick break.
Okay, let's do it.
And we're back. So, Kari, now that we've covered Master of Me, what are your final thoughts? And would you recommend this book?
Final thoughts. I thoroughly enjoyed reading this book. It's an easy read, short, but it's rich. So I felt that she gave she wasn't preachy at all, but she gave useful tips that could help perhaps someone in any industry. I definitely saw things that could help me in the work that I do. And it's that thing where sometimes you know things, but you need someone to say it in a specific way where you get it. And I felt that a lot in this book, especially when she talked about the difference between what you do and who you are, your value and your action, and then your purpose, which is above all of that. I really liked it. I really liked it. I really loved the way she divulged enough about her life to make you feel that this wasn't so when I first opened the book, I thought this another scam, or this is a scam, not another scam, because I've never been scammed by Keke. But I thought this is a money grab. Let me go ahead and support her, give her some dollars.
Did you get the physical copy of the book?
Not yet. I'm still waiting on it since it just came out. How did you get yours, by the way?
So my daughter attended an event in Milwaukee where Keke was present, and she got a book from there, and it arrived yesterday.
Oh, that's awesome. Is it signed?
I think it should be. Should be.
Oh, that is so cool. Okay. Yeah, so I felt even if you don't know who Keke Palmer is, you will find something useful in this book. She spoke about how she had a relationship with a 20-year-old when she was 15. She spoke about depression under the pressure of being a child actor, as we touched on abuse in her childhood, but how she is able to frame that trauma in a way where it doesn't cripple her. So, loved it. Would I recommend it? Absolutely. And I plan on reading it again this week. With more notes, because we had to hurry up and read for the show. Yeah. So she also mentioned how she's a big picture person and not necessarily into the small details. And that's just like me. Anyway, I felt like we twinning. Can I have some money? So anyway, yes, I really love this book. It's enjoyable and useful. Or at least that's how I found it. Not preachy, but extremely useful. And I'd recommend it. Alexis, what did you think of Master and Me by Keke Palmer? And would you recommend this book?
So Keke's book did what Jada Pinkett Smith's book did. And I love that. Except she added a multiple choice question and then some reflective questions at the ends of her sections. And I love that. The book was not salacious. But it touched briefly on some known events, and I thought that was great. And I like how she said the book is for everyone, but particularly for millennials. And it is. You can see how it is for everyone. It has value no matter what end of life you're on. It's got some really helpful tips, which is nice if you want to make some improvements, because like one of the questions was in the power section is write down how you feel, what worries you, what scares you, how you honestly feel about work and friends, anything, and then respond to yourself saying the things that you need to hear. And I think those are just really helpful tips when people are trying to understand and figure things out. She talks about always trying to gain transferable skills, and that's what you kind of mentioned it. But that's what she said. When you're employed somewhere, get what you can get out of there. Learn something from it. And I love the pointers that she gave. She said, be honest with yourself. There were 3 points she gave, and I can't remember what they were in relation to, but I remember them being, be honest with yourself, discipline and accountability and awareness. All of those things are important. And I think she related.
Yeah, I heard you.
Related to success. But I thought those points were so excellent.
Lovely. Yeah.
Throughout the book, she, like you said, it wasn't preachy. It was what her experience is. And this might help you also. So I really appreciated it. And I would recommend this book to somebody.
Yeah, well, lovely. Well, we don't have a book next week, you guys, because that is our season finale. Thank you so much for listening to a 5th year with us. Is that right?
Is this the 4th? No, it's the 4th year. It's the 4th year. It will be the 5th year when we start next season, if we keep going.
Wow. Oh, okay. What? Are you sure? 2020, 2021, 2022, 2023, end of 2024. That's 5 years. We would be entering our 6th year. You see how time flies?
Right. Oh my goodness.
Just awesome.
Our first episode landed in January or February. That's
sure.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And it's been great, you guys. Thank you so much for helping us to make this podcast, to take this podcast to where it needs to be something we can do. Mm-hmm. And you help us with that by joining our Patreon. We have a free membership tier, also two paid membership tiers, and everybody's getting something fun over there. We're not just asking you to sign up. We're creating content exclusively for Patreon. And you can pick up our new reading journal. It is beautiful, fun. So it was fun to make. So yeah, pick up your copy when available starting Black Friday of 2024 on patreon.com/LitSocietyPod or LitSocietyPod.com. Thank you so much for listening to our show, sharing your feedback, sharing our show with your friends and family. We love you guys. Thank you for leaving comments for us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, Instagram, TikTok. Audible. Yes. Thank you. And we look forward to seeing you in about a week or two. We're going to do a roundup episode of our favorite books of the season and then on to bonus content until we possibly come back for season 6. Wow.
Wow. That's great.
Thank you again.
How exciting.
It is. Thank you again, you guys. And from Alexis and Kari, we just want to remind you, whatever you're doing this week, whatever you're getting into, and however crazy your family makes you feel, remember to read something.